Change you can believe in? I don't believe in Obama, Pelosi, or anything they stand for. They are running our government and ruining our country, and if elected, Tom Hayhurst will proudly be Pelosi's water boy. I believe every American has the right to pursue their dreams and reap the rewards of their own hard work. Obama, Pelosi, and Hayhurst believe that sometimes you make too much money, you might drive the wrong gas guzzler, can't make your own decisions, and that they have the best ideas on how to redistribute your wealth. With your help, I will defeat Tom Hayhurst in November because he is an old-school liberal in favor of Obamacare that creates unfunded mandates for states, increases the costs of health care for our businesses, and stifles job creation and expansion. All of us candidates agree that we need less government, limited government, lower taxes, and that the government is becoming a nanny state, meddling in our lives. And that needs to stop. Obama and his Congress want to ram through as many spending bills as possible before we throw them out. For example, the Create Jobs and Save Benefits Act will put us on the hook for underfunded union pensions because companies did not make the cuts when they needed to, promised their employees the moon, and now we are stuck with the bill. They want to cut Medicare Advantage by $260 billion because it's the one piece of federal legislation that gives citizens private choices. The stimulus and bailout packages have become a private piggy bank for Obama and his cronies to fund social policy programs. And we don't want to give that man one more dime. We've had enough of uncontrolled government, spending that has broken the backs of hardworking taxpayers and saddled our children and grandchildren with staggering debt. We need to send someone to Washington who could put an end to the change that none of us believe in. I am sharp enough to understand how to solve the problems and dogged enough not to stop till we get it right. Change you can believe in sounds like a line from Peter Pan, and Obama is all out of fairy dust. Last weekend, my husband, Steve, and I attended our 30-year college reunion from Notre Dame. Many of our friends from the Chicago area were excited about my candidacy and offered to help, even coming down to vote. I said, that's Chicago politics. We don't do that here in Indiana. And we're tired of the Chicago way of doing things in Washington. When elected, I will look Obama, Pelosi, and their like in the eye and say, Obama change? No thanks. Keep the change, Mr. President. It's not even worth tossing in a tip jar. Thank you very much, and I appreciate it.
My wife and daughters are standing behind me because when we started this process 4 months ago in the primary, battling against Mark Souder, they were with me at every step of the way. And they were excited, and they enjoyed the prospect of coming back up here to Fort Wayne, moving into that little apartment that we've been living in for the last couple of months, and taking on this challenge. And over the last 4 months, I have spoken to thousands of people in the 3rd District. And I can tell you that they're scared, they're worried, they're frustrated, and they think that they have been betrayed by their own federal government. And they're beginning to carry little pocket constitutions, and that's probably a pretty good sign, because they're going back to what made us great. They're going back to our roots, and they've all learned about the framers. And you can tell that everybody knows that the framers didn't intend it to be this way. No, the framers intended it that somebody would become a civil servant. They'd go to work, they'd go to Washington at the end of a long career, and they'd do their duty, not for political gain, not for profit, but just to do their duty. I'm a businessman. I've been in business for 30 years. I fit that profile. And nothing has changed since we started this battle 4 months ago. This country is still bankrupt. We are facing the worst economic situations we can, and nobody has more at stake in the 3rd District than I do. And I choose the House of Representatives because if you really want to stop the spending in Washington, you do it from the House of Representatives. You don't do it from the Senate. That's where the spending bills originate. And I just want to ask a couple of quick questions. Where were all these civic leaders 4 months ago when it was tough, when you had to go up against a strong incumbent and you had to sacrifice a lot of time, blood, sweat, and tears, and yes, money to fight for the people in the 3rd District? And how many times did somebody come up to me and say, are you going to vote what your constituents want, or are you just going to do what you want to do? Well, I can tell you, 27,000 people 5 weeks ago voted for me in this seat in this district, and nobody else on this platform can say that. And let's not forget the task at hand. This country is facing the greatest challenges it has faced in a long time. The next war will not be fought with bombs and missiles. It will probably be fought with currency exchanges, credit default swaps, and treasury auctions. The next enemy won't be wearing a uniform and carrying a gun. He'll probably be building a bomb in his garage or working in his investment house. So who do you want to stand in Washington, D.C. when Barack Obama walks into the House and says, you have two choices. You either raise taxes dramatically to pay for all this spending, or you let us go to the credit markets and print money and watch inflation go out of sight. Because that's what's going to happen. And it's no more than the future of your children that is at stake. Who do you want up there making those decisions? Thank you.